Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, eh? In diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to one more episode of Breaking News on Focus on Liberia. Here's your host, Jimmy Eastman. I'm sorry I've been away for a little while. As the summer draws near, people have to go on their vacations and whatnot, and of course, it didn't spare me any. So I found myself having to oblige the family. And you know, there are a lot of things that happen when you go on these excursions. You can contract illnesses that you are not even aware of. So the next thing you know, I'm there sick. I need a vacation from the vacation. Notwithstanding, God is great. God has brought us back here, back alive, back vibrant. Put your faith in Him and let Him show you His great power. I'm not going to delay any further. So let me bring on our on-the-ground journalist from Monrovia, Liberia, Jeremiah Mulbah. He will be joining us in with audio only today. Jeremiah, are you there?
I'm here, Mr. Eastman, and like me say, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of our followers. Wheresoever you find yourself, we want to say thanks so kindly for always following Focus on Liberia. And I want to say, never mind, and wishing you speedy recovery. It's good to see you back on your feet to serve our people. It's glad to be here.
Yes. We got so many things to catch up on. I hear the commander-in-chief is not even in the country, Mulbah.
Yes, so the president left this gone weekend. He's in the U.S. There's this summit about the U.S. Africa and business summit. So the president is one of the panelists. There are panel discussion about Africa, about the world. So he's one of the panelists. He been attending a series of meetings, engaging with that in the U.S. as well. I know he met with some Liberians there in Dallas, Texas. My understanding is he gonna also visit other states within the U.S. to also have some discussion with Liberians there, how they can be a help to the country back home. So he's out, and as we speak now, the office of the president, that the uh, chief of staff in the president's office taking care in consultation with the office of the vice president.
Uh-huh.
So the country is good and it's moving on. But there are developments that we just want to provide to our people. Kenya top-notch lawyer and advocate. He's a popular individual. His name is Prof. Patrick Lumumba.
Oh yes, I've been following the professor for a long time. He speaks his
Right.
mind.
So he speaks his mind. So he's in Liberia currently. He's attending the Association of Trial Judges across West Africa. So they currently here in Liberia. And yesterday had the opportunity to appear on one of the local stations here in Liberia, OKFN, and there were several things he talked about. The, the first thing, he expressed dissatisfaction about the way the country looks, dating back as 1822 when Liberia was founded, 1847 gaining independence. He said, with all of the natural resources that the country has, the country is yet to be developed. And he made clear emphasis on one of the companies that operates in Liberia, the Firestone Rubber Plantation. As you may be aware, Mr. Eastman, Firestone Rubber Plantation signed an agreement with the Liberian government to operate in the country for 25 years. And during the administration of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, there was some ratification on that agreement, and there was some extension as well. And he said, with the kind of resources Fazon takes from Liberia, the company is yet to produce raw materials in the country. Liberians are not benefiting. One funny thing he said, he said Liberians will remain to wait until the second coming of Jesus Christ. If Firestone present does not economically benefit the country in the nearby future. That was one of the quotes from him.
Yes, we have gone to in-depth study of this whole Firestone Liberia deal. The Western world did not want to afford Liberia any loan. Britain had given us a loan, and from the $500,000 loan, less than $75,000 money we got. So less than 20%, and we had to pay a whole lot of interest on that. So we couldn't pay it. So they wanted to take over Liberia. They said, we're going to take it over. Y'all can't pay. Y'all got debt. Y'all can't pay. We take over your country. The whole purpose was to take over Liberia. It wasn't a loan to really expand Liberia's to the international world to increase business. It was a predatory loan. Those loan, when they give it to you, they don't, before you know that, I come take your house, your everything, your family or member, they're ready to take them for pawn. And we were in a desperate situation. So that is when we got into this agreement with the U.S. government. We asked them for money to pay this debt. We told them they can have the Treasury Department. They can control it. They can control the frontier force. We say you can control everything, but we just give us this money so we can pay the people their debt. and it went to the Senate, and they refused. But they say, you know what? Yeah, Firestone, yeah, Firestone may be able to help you, and that is how we signed that agreement with Firestone to give them 1 million acres for I don't know a penny a year, and they were able to give us a loan. We paid them. We paid Great Britain to get off our back, and that is how we got in that loan. Now, many years later, Steve Tolbert and Willie Tolbert, they tried to renegotiate those loans because they knew it was a exploitative loans. And you know, those certain people don't like it when you try to change the rules, especially if it's in their favor. So, to make a long matter short, we will have to find a way to fight for ourselves in the economic environment we find ourselves. Nobody's going to really help us. Liberia been struggling from the time 18 what. Nobody really wanted to help us. But that notwithstanding, we survived. So Patrick Lumumba, he needs to be aware too that those yeah, I agree with him. The current situation is not in our benefit. We need rubber production here, not raw material, but for value added and things. But we have to negotiate hard because it is not in the interest of some of the people we deal with. It's not in the interest that we become more and more productive. So it's an uphill battle, but he is correct. We have to change the scenario. I agree with you. What else going on after Mr. Lumumba? What else he said? Hey, Mulbah, did I lose Mulbah? Okay. Anyway, let's go on to the next topic. Next. Yeah, here we go. Hey, did I lose you there, Mulbah? I don't know if he joined us. Did I Gayman, are you there? All right.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you, but I don't see a camera.
Okay. There you go.
There we go.
The High Court got me.
You want the
The
what
High
grab you?
Court. Can you hear me now?
Clear, loud and clear, loud and clear.
Okay,
Jeremiah,
great.
can you hear us, Jeremiah? Jeremiah trying to
Yes,
join
I
us.
can hear both of you.
Oh, very good, very good. So, welcome to the show, Jerome. We were just discussing um, the honorable professor's visit to Liberia, Patricia Lumumba. He made a comment. Where I love the comment he made. He said, "What that before Liberia benefit from the Firestone rubber plantation deal." What he said, and Jeremiah. Jeremiah.
Is this speech on YouTube where we can cut and paste?
Well, no, he's been meeting with a group of judges, some forum about judges and whatnot, and they
Okay.
decided to hold a meeting in Liberia. And he just made a comment. Another comment I remember he made was that he said, it's not good for the selection of Supreme Court judges and whatnot to be coming from the president. There should be
That's right.
a autonomous body that
Uh-huh.
goes through the selection of these, and then finally it goes to him for approval. You know?
Uh, the gentleman is an astute lawyer.
Yes.
In fact, one of the reasons why they kicked him out of the council in Kenya is because he was unbending, and he wanted to reform the judicial system to be corruption free, to be autonomous. And the power that be did not like that. And he was fired before he was even informed. The job they created that position for him to actually help reform the judicial system. Little did they know that he meant business. So he was abroad when they didn't even fire him, but they deleted his position. The position was abolished without him being fired. He came back one day and the position no longer existed. So,
my man, what you doing here? Say, my man, what you doing here? Say, I can't.
Right.
No, that position doesn't exist.
Yeah, that position doesn't exist. You're talking about all of these things. So here we are. You talk about briefly the history of Liberia, where we are, and those of us who have interest in public policy, we keep telling folks that some of these decisions you are making carelessly, without thinking about it, it has fundamental and future consequences on generations to come. Just imagine over 100 years ago, that decision, $5 million debt that we have owed, and we were in a jam. And our own folks that we thought were our partners, little do we know that the United States and these agencies are not our partners, they are our competitors. And this is what you get. And people compete to get a better half of everything. And we consider them as our partners, so we usually yield to them, and this is what happened. United States wants everything for herself until we develop the goals and the wherewithal to stand and say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. Our entire country, the entire nation, we are of this mindset that the United States is our big brother, is our godfather, and we cannot go contrary to whatever they say. And generation after generations after generations, we just acquiesce.
But you know, Jeremiah, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you for coming back. But before we go back to Jeremiah, but one thing what I notice now, which is worse, before you become independent, of course you are right. The people are our competitors; they're not our partners per se, and we have to, convince them to be partners. But before you can do it, you have to build competence. And this is what I'm seeing we're not building our own competence. In other words, developing our means of production, developing our people so that tomorrow, even though today we may not have enough engineers, doctors, and business people, but tomorrow we are, because we are preparing our youth to take over these places. We are putting the knowledge in them that later on will become flowers of great wealth for the country. We're not doing that. So then we are even weaker now because we don't even know what to do. We don't know how to build systems. We just have our hands up begging so we can pay salaries. So to me, it's getting worse, Mr. Gayman.
I want to disagree with you. We have been brainwashed. This is the what we call the white supremacy. We have been brainwashed in our society that even our intelligentsia, people that grew up in the West, highly educated, went home. If our president, I think Dr. Lumumba alluded to that, the folks in Africa and Liberia in particular, their people are going to die to elect them. And when the folks have elected them and they are celebrating, the president usually waits until he gets a call from the United States. Then he comes out to his people and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just got a call from the White House, and we are recognized as, you know." Can you imagine? You got 5 million people, and they all, I mean, those who can vote, voted for you. And instead of coming out and thanking them and saying, "Thank you for what you have done," you wait until you get called from the foreign office, as though if they do not recognize you, then you are not legit. Your people that put you in power, you say nothing to them until you wait for a call from Washington, a call from Great Britain, a call from France, and you tell them, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just received a call from Joe Biden congratulating me," and all the newspapers and all the radio personalities, they are saying it. They never said Jimmy Eastman got elected and all his Basel folks call, and all his cousins from Nimba, from Lofa, from everybody, they are jubilant because he has done something great. Instead, they will say, "Have you gotten an invitation to the White House?"
Yeah, that's the measure of success.
Yes. So it is like in social science what we used to say, they said the worst kind of colonization in the world is the mind colonization. Once the mind is colonized, the colonial power don't have to be around. They're in your head. It's like putting a herd in a barn or on a farm and put them in a fence. And they just go in circle. They just go in circle. When you remove the fence at night, that invincible fence is there. They will keep going in circle. They will never leave that boundary. This is where we are. We have PhDs, we have master's degree, we got chemical degree, we got city planning degree. You name it, all the degrees we want to build a country, we have them in Liberia. But why haven't we moving ahead? Because even Jimmy Eastman, you are an engineer. If you went over there now, you say, "I want to do this with telecom," or "I want to do this with LEC." The first thing they're going to tell you is, "Let us take your plan to our partners, see if they approve you." So they take you, they go to their partner, and one of the partners said, "Man, Jimmy is too radical. What he's doing there, he's going to be taking bread out of our mouths." And the next thing you know, is Jimmy is dropped. And in fact, the partners will say, "Give me 3 names." And then we will decide which one of those 3. And then they will come and say, "No, we did background check, we did everything else. Jimmy Eastman is not there. Mulbah is not there." Well, they know Mr. Gayman loves his Republican business, and we did so. He would be the right guy, knowing that I have no expertise in engineering of any kind. They will
That's
just
some of the things. But let's go back to the breaking news. What else we got on the breaking news, Jeremiah?
Well, of recent, there have been this issue of scarcity when it comes to gasoline in the country. Motorcyclists, motorcyclists, drivers, they have been struggling.
Are you seeing long lines at gas station?
Yes, it happened of recent, but just yesterday, the managing director of the Liberian Budgetary refining company, Amos Toy, he had a press conference and he disclosed that enough gasoline in the country. He said the LPRC have reserve, and he said those things are happening. Individuals are the one responsible. They're skyrocketing. They are increasing the price of gasoline in the country. Some have in stock, but they will go in a hard places somewhere, and then they come out to the public and say no gasoline in the country. So he warned them that the country had enough, and even LPRC have enough gas.
So this is the new LPRC and managing director who is warning them, or is the commerce?
Is the new managing director who's sending on that warning, because folks are in the country who sometimes come out and said there's no gasoline in the country, this is happening. So he said yesterday that LPRC got enough stuff for gasoline, and in fact, it has reserve. The command has reserve, so gas is in the country.
Yeah, but Jeremiah, the gasoline thing is funny. The way they do it, because there's a limited storage at the port. When one company brings their gasoline, they will allow other companies to get some because they're all on the way. So let's say they got 1 million tons of gasoline there, and they get they get total, they get all those different gasoline. If so long you can show that your own coming, they will give you some of the other people own. They say your own come. When they own come, they give people, but that's how they've been doing it. So if the men say they get enough, what's causing the problem now that the other gas station ain't getting some? What causing the problem? Huh? What causing the problem? Jeremiah?
I think Jeremiah is having problem with his
Yeah.
with
Jerome, you want to weigh in on what's going on here, because we hear this thing. I don't believe in lip service. We have seen that. They come out and say one thing and then they do another thing.
But for full disclaimer, I'm a supporter of the CDC. We had this conversation 1,000 times, and we just talked about Liberian capacity. Right. And we told the folks a year ago, when these things were happening, it is totally beyond the control of Liberia. As long as we, like you said, we don't build capacity, and we depend on folks to do everything. This is what happened. The herding is in America, we call it price gouging. They create this pseudo scarcity. Yeah. Okay, they hold back on the commodity, and it's in the private sector. The government has no regulations. They have no enforcement mechanism. I think the last time you heard the former LPRC person said when they went to check some of their own reserve, when they did a dipstick, they found out that they didn't have anything in their reserve, even though they tank. The people there who were managing the fuel said they had enough fuel in the system, but in reality they had nothing, because they had no way of monitoring the reserve, the quantity. They have no system in place, Jimmy. So Mr. Toya comes out and say, we have enough fuel in the country. He didn't tell you how many millions of barrels of fuel they have, where it is stored, who has it, and all that. They didn't give it. They just come and talk on the periphery, which is just a political talking point. You say we have fuel. Where are the fuel? Who is in possession of the fuel? How it is being distributed? So how can you say we have enough fuel? I mean, that is just political rhetoric. When I come to your house or you go somewhere and say, I have a caterer, you're having a party, the caterer calls you. How many folks you have that you're expecting in the party? You say, I have a reservation for 30. The caterer will come and give you food for maybe 40, because they usually give you a little more. So you have accounting. They will say, we'd rather give you more. You'd rather have more left over than have less. So they do all of these things. So here we are. If Mr. Tua wanted to know, or wanted to actually inform us as to how much fuel in the country, he would have done better than that. Where are the fuel stored? If you have a tanker in Grand Bassa County, you can say, the Grand Bassa County has 1 million gallons of fuel remaining. Lofa County has this county has. So we have all in our own reserve tank here in Monrovia. We got 2 million barrels that is good for the next 90 days. That's what management do. That's what managements around the world will do. That's what a great manager does. You don't just come on the edge and say we got enough. What is enough?
Yes, exactly. What does you when you say that, it's like you're talking to children or you're talking to somebody who doesn't know. You be specific. What will we receive? Where are they? How was it distributed? And you go into details. But the people
Nothing.
have been taking advantage of we Liberians as if we don't have any common sense. Now, when they say enough there, it's enough for them to say it. You know, they promise you all kinds of things when it won't be elected, but soon they get there now, they give you lip service. We have enough. Be specific. Tell us where the gasoline is and come to investigate why there are shortages, because that will bring out issues that you may not be aware of that the public is experiencing. You know?
Well, and this is why the the folks who are manipulating, gouging at the expense of the poor, this is what they do. The Lebanese merchants, the Indian merchants, those who are importing fuel, this is what they do. They create this scarcity, and now the price of gas is going to be skyrocketing with no relief in sight until the people maybe get in the streets or pictured all over the place. It is just mismanagement. It is incompetence. That's what it is. Because when you come and tell us we got enough fuel, the regular Liberian person wants to believe you. But because you know that we are gullible, the folks, they would take the talking point and say, our guy said we have enough fuel. So if they say it, it is gospel. You don't need any like our friend Kamara would say, he says it, I believe it, and that's enough. It's in our head. I don't need anything on paper. That's the belief. He said, my head, you were on the show. He said, what I got in my head when I tell you, believe it. I don't believe in putting things on paper. This is how people think we should live. This is how these people think. And because we have a gullible society, they will say, okay, the man said in his head, and I trust him. So they forgot that Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan said trust but verify. You have to verify some of these things. Everything has to be verified, even when they're your friends.
That's correct. That's correct. So, my man, we haven't been hearing very much about the how the appointments would go since they suspended the LTA after the Supreme Court ruling that they could not replace tenure in tenure positions. Then we saw a turnaround where they completely suspended the whole LTA body and replaced them. What news you have heard since then? We don't. Everything is kind of quiet now.
Well, that's the Liberia of our time. Um, the the Liberian Supreme Court ruled, and the commander in chief, that is the chief enforcer of what the Supreme Court says, decided to ignore the Supreme Court, go around the Supreme Court. The identical people that you submitted, the people told you no, you went around them and you come out and you fire everybody, suspend the entire organization, and say there is a suspicion that there might be corruption. Usually it's the other way around. We say we have done our audit. This is the malfeasance that was discovered. These are the folks who did it. These are the return checks. These are the return. This is the transfer from bank account to bank account. These are the folks who misappropriated, just like they did Brandon Samakai when they showed checks that, listen, you got $200,000 check here in your own name, check written to yourself or written to family members, or written to friends. It didn't go through the system. These are corruption. Those are facts. Okay, you cannot debunk them. But for you to say uh, it has come to my attention that there are some possible corruption in the system, and for us to bleed out the kink, we are going to suspend everybody until the investigation can be completed. It is totally on the other side. Another thing that's happening here, there is a photo going around on social media that came out of Atlanta. I mean, came out of Texas, with permanent members of the presidential delegation sitting on the floor. There are not enough seats, and including the presidential press secretary, I think, and the finance minister, they are sitting on the floor doing their work. The case here is that according to what from our sources, every country has allotted X amount of seats, and Liberia exceeded her seats. So these people had to sit somewhere, so they sat on the floor doing their work. And the photo is going around. How could a national government allow itself? We are, like you say, you talk about people are not educated, people are not trained. These are highly educated people at the highest rank, at the cabinet level in the government, at a training, at a convention, sitting on the floor, doing their work. So you want to know, where are we going as a nation? And you're talking about people need to gain respect. Just the common stuff. You have reservation. Oh yes, we have confirmation. The rules are, we give you maybe 25 seats each country 25 seats. Then you come, you bring 50 people. Then you want them to say, no, every seat has a number in the country. They will say Jimmy Eastman, Republic of Liberia. When your numbers are out, the next country follows. So you can bring 100 people you want. Only 25 folks will be seated. What is so important, what is so difficult that our chief of protocol, our protocol officer, people just cannot understand these things. You look at the hall and to see other nations sitting and Liberia standing on the wall and some sitting on the floor. It's terrible, but this is our new normal. I guess we have to get accustomed to this, and I don't know how you explain that. And then on the other hand, simultaneously, VOA put up a press release that the president, the delegation from Kenya, have been the State Department, the Biden administration is going to be holding a state dinner with the president of Kenya and their delegation. So if we are the children, or I guess like Ms. Bright called it, like America's stepchild, I guess they treat us like a stepchild. That if Liberia is in the house and Kenya is in the house, you think at least they will invite both of us. Even if you brought in a bigger country like Kenya and give them state dinner, at least Liberia, maybe you say we'll follow. But nothing, and VOA carried this, and there's a whole lot of comment about why Liberia is being treated this way. So here we are, like your Bassa people say, it is based on self-respect.
But why Liberia? Why they say Liberia is being treated this way? What is the reason?
Well, you and I know the reason. We have allowed ourselves, like you say, we have never grown spines since our beginning to say we are an independent country. We deserve respect. Everything. We're not asking for more, but definitely not less. Accord the same respect that you accord every other country. Instead, nobody will say anything. The president will not say anything. They wouldn't say anything to the ambassador. They wouldn't say anything in public. And Instead, the president is headed to Atlanta to meet with Liberian people and then back to Liberia. So this is a non-partisan thing. It is just who we are. Just talk about what you were talking about our capacity. Okay, the way we treat ourselves.
Yeah.
The LEC, I think, in the budget you saw, the LEC chief is being paid $17,000 a month
For doing nothing.
for doing nothing, and employees are making $150. The gap between the average person at LEC and the chief executive, it is what you would know math. That might be like 10,000% between from $150 to $17,000. Okay, that's unacceptable. But who are we? So
And even when it come to light, because right now, this whole thing was exposed, and it's been in front of the president's desk. But I saw them go to Ivory Coast. They were supposed to be getting more fuel. When it came back, the result was they come and get less fuel. But then why are we paying the people? I mean, there's something. When will Liberian people get tired of this sort of thing? Yeah, paying somebody who is not doing anything.
and again, the folks may say we are political, but those who said the previous government were doing things blindly because they didn't have the experience and the technocrats and the know-how, that when these folks come in, those of you who are in the technical area, I know you said this about building dams around the country, mini dams all over the country to serve different communities. Just imagine if you were putting the $200 million or whatever it is that we're spending for LEC now, that burning every home in the country. If you decided to build mini dams all over the country, right? If you broke the country down into segments, 4 different segments, and you address one and then the next, at least we know. But we are back to square one. We now depending on Ivory Coast to supply us. We have no say so in when and where. If anything happens in the Ivory Coast, like we say, when America sneezes, Africa is in trouble. If something happens, that's that one that we even catch it cold. We catch Ebola. if something happens in the Ivory Coast, we are dead. We have no backup system. Nothing. Even our own the dam that we have over there that the Millennium Challenge spent is $1 billion. Look what we're getting for that kind of money. For that kind of money, Mount Coffee. What can Mount Coffee do? What is it? 88 watts that were built in 1964 when we had like 1 million people. Now we're almost 6 million people. And we're still on the same kilowatt that we had that Tubman built in 1964. President William V. Tubman built that thing.
Seen Tubman time. And we haven't gone anywhere.
And Tubman did better. Because when you and I were growing up there, we had electricity 24/7.
Remember, we have running water in the house.
We have water.
Yeah.
We had running water. We had electricity. So
but to be fair, Jerome, you and myself, we were a little bit more fortunate than many Liberians because where we were living, you Buchanan boy, Moreau boy, we had access to these amenities so we could have light running, water running. But plenty of our people, they were living in these little small shanties and zinc houses, no light, no running water. And this situation I'm describing, you'll find that the majority of Liberian people were not having access to these things, it was not enough. But what has happened that we agreed that not enough was being done for everybody, for the masses of the people. But now we see ourselves with the same problem. Nothing is being done to change the future of our people. And even though now our eyes open, still nothing is being done.
Yeah, but Mr. Eastman, uh, let's say Tubman and Talbot did what they had to do.
Mhm.
What is, when we talk about incrementalism, when we talk about gradualism,
Yeah,
where those people stop, okay? It is our job to go a little further.
I agree.
When you and I were little, I know our little friend, knowledgeable, my representative, David Moore. I think David Moore representative were making like $500 a month
Yeah,
as a representative, and they did more with less.
yeah.
My representative now is making what, $20,000 more than the U.S. representative is making. So if we say we are a Christian nation, and we went out to say, to whom much is given, much is required. We are paying them for expertise that they don't have. And again, I have to go back to my own sister, mother, someone that we all admire, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, under whose auspices these exorbitant salaries were codified into law. And now it's an albatross, it's around our necks. We went from 80% of our budget being recurrent expenses, basically, which is that what we're eating 80%.
Salary. Yeah.
We're eating 80%. Now it's gone to 95 to 98%. The president says the budget that we're giving is 92.8%. That basically, or 92.5. That was 93%. Then
Yeah.
he turned around and gave a $14 million waiver to exporters of rice and importers of gasoline and all of that. $14 million. So that 93% that we're talking about have now gone up to maybe 98% because our $14 million has to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
So,
Well, what was the justification? That's what we're supposed to. What is the reason?
Political, people who financed my campaign, the Lebanese, the Indians, those to whom we owe a lot of money, we're going to say we relieve you by way of tariff. You are not going to be paying any more taxes in this for the whole year. $14 million, the whole year is gone. That's what it is. This is debt that you owe to folks, and you pay them back indirectly or directly at the expense of the folks. Remember, the budget that was passed included that $14 million.
Yeah.
So now you said this is what you need. You got a $14 million. This will carry up for the year. Then you turn around, you give $14 million waiver. So here we are. So one of the things that I think the government did recently that they're not even talking about, that I like, of all the things Joseph Berger had done wrong, for the first time he submitted an act to codify transitional government policy and procedure, which I think if all the things he have done wrong, that is one great one that he did that nobody talking about because they themselves, they are not even sure what they are doing. But for this president to say, we want the legislature to pass an act or law that from henceforth, there will be policy and procedural steps that you take when election is held. For the government to be turned over from one government to the next, we have to put these processes in place and these
I agree with you.
follow. That that is a brilliant piece of work that I don't know whether they did it by mistake because they ain't talking about it. It's a major piece of accomplishment.
Yes.
But the Waka people are not talking about it. I don't know whether they did it or somebody did it because it just baffled me. How come they're not even mentioning this? Nobody on the talk show, in the press, there was just something that they just wrote and said, and that was it. So I'm baffled as you are. I don't know what is going on. Total disconnect.
Yeah.
When the former president came to the United States, when all the presidents from Africa came, I don't know whether the same summit, but you saw the president and Joe Biden, they were, and other presidents in DC, in the White House, all over the place. I don't know whether this is the same summit, but this one is very, very strange. It looks like a basic workshop.
I don't know. I want to see the results. Okay. I thought maybe the commerce minister, the minister of investment, or the commissioner for investment commission. I thought those would have been the people to send, but there were other heads of state present. It was well attended. They had some powerful heads of states at the meeting, though. I must admit. So maybe he wanted to meet with some of his colleagues. There.
I saw. I know this is funny, but in one of the sections they had the commerce minister falling asleep, and that picture is all over the place. Can you imagine the man who is in charge of basically our economy is at a major summit, like you say, among all these heads of states and other ministers of finances and commerces, and our man is far asleep. So I don't know whether it was boring.
Who the foreign minister this time? I thought it was a woman.
No. We're talking about the commerce minister that fell asleep.
Oh, the commerce minister.
Minister, the man. Modad, the man who actually should spearhead this thing because this is about economic development. The commerce minister fell asleep, and everybody. I think you saw the photo. I don't know if you saw the photo, but this is.
Wait now. As they say, monkey do.
But listen, Mr. Eastman, I know that even at this meeting, there will be opposition people there, the media people will be there. The camera is live. You think I would drink maybe 10 cups of coffee to keep me going, or buy my Red Bull to make sure nobody catches me in compromising positions. But here is a guy who is a little. This is what we say in Liberia. He got big bones. There's a guy with a big bone sitting in a chair with a hair on his stomach, and he basically passed out, snoring like hell. I want to believe, and people taking a picture, and people taking your picture, and you still. And nobody pinching you, like somebody would pinch you as if get off somebody here, step on your toes. And this man picture is being taken in a forum. So this is where we are. We have to
Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello, Jerome.
I'm here.
What were you saying?
I'm saying if you and I went to an event.
We got to wrap it up now.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, the breaking news.
Let's wrap it up. So we'll be back next week.
Yeah, let's do it. So you can close up on the major topics that you and Mulbah started on.
Right. So, like we'll say, the top lawyer and activist Patrick Lumumba discloses to the Liberians that we must be waiting on the second coming of Jesus Christ if we think that Firestone agreement would be doing anything good for us. And he also commented that our judges and Supreme Court people should to go through a board. They should be the one nominating these people for such positions. And in the country, we also noticed that there are rumors of shortages of oil, fuel oil, and gasoline. But according to the LPRC director, we have ample supply in the country. So we're going to wrap it up right there. And until our next meeting, we want you all to stay tuned to Focus on Liberia. We will be bringing you some interesting programs. We have On Point with Mr. Jerome Gayman here on Sunday at 4 o'clock. We have Focus on Liberia Marketplace, bringing you the economic updates of Liberia on Saturday at 3 o'clock. We have tomorrow is a Friday night debate, and today is Tough Talking Thursday at 7:30. So don't miss it. We're going to bring some top panelists here to talk about these issues. And until next time, we remember we have one country, we are one kin, one people. We are all Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people.